President Trump is on his way home this morning following his second summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Meanwhile, lawmakers in Washington heard some fiery testimony from President Trump's former lawyer yesterday. We will bring you the highlights. And police officers in 3 states, including the Commonwealth, pay tribute to one of their own who was killed in the line of duty.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 5:30. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning into Mountain News This Morning on Thursday, February the 28th. It was a beautiful day yesterday, but as Brandon has said so many times before, and we said earlier, what goes up must come down. And Brandon, I was looking at you playing with what you got over there, and I saw that ugly green again.
Yeah,
dude,
unfortunately.
What the heck?
I know, right? And listen, we don't need it. We definitely do not need it after this week. So again, just kind of keep that in mind. But here's the thing. Scattered. Keep that in mind. Scattered, 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 not soaking like we had over the weekend. Let's take a look at conditions this morning, though. No rain to speak of. Whitesburg looking dry this morning on the MCHC camera overlooking the city there. And as you see on satellite radar, just a little bit of green overnight, maybe a stray shower or two, but it's mainly clouds this morning that will affect you on your drive, just kind of keeping the sunshine at bay. Live pinpoint Doppler radar are nice and quiet as we head through the first part of your day. Temperatures across the region, 50 in Hazard, 47 toward London, but you see the cold front literally draped across the state, and you see back toward Lexington, Owensboro, and Paducah, mid to upper 30s there, even low 30s out toward Owensboro. So the forecast for today will bounce down a little longer this morning as we see temperatures get down to right around 40 by about 9 o'clock, and then we'll bounce back up to the mid to upper 40s by this afternoon, and that back down into the 30s overnight, with those chances for rain starting to get a little bit more scattered and then fade out overnight. I'll have the rest of that forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, President Donald J. Trump is aboard Air Force One on his way back home after his 2-day summit with Kim Jong-un in Vietnam. A joint agreement the White House press office said would be signed never materialized. The summit featured extraordinary exchanges between the North Korean dictator and the American press. Kim was asked by one journalist if he was ready to denuclearize.
If I'm not willing to do that, I won't be here right now.
That's a good answer. Wow, that might be the best answer you've ever heard.
At one point, when asked if the United States might be allowed to open an office in Pyongyang, both Kim and the president said they were open to the idea. Now, yesterday was a day of high drama on Capitol Hill, where President Trump's former personal attorney delivered public testimony to lawmakers. CBS's Natalie Brand reports on Michael Cohen's explosive language about the president.
Michael Cohen turned on his former boss, saying he regrets the day he first went to work for Donald Trump.
I am ashamed because I know what Mr. Trump is. He is a racist, he is a con man, and he is a cheat.
Testifying under oath, Cohen said President Trump reimbursed him for payments to cover up an affair with porn star Stormy Daniels.
Lying to the First Lady is one of my biggest regrets because she is a kind, good person, and I respect her greatly.
He also said during the presidential campaign that candidate Trump knew ahead of time about WikiLeaks releasing damaging emails about Hillary Clinton. And he alleged Mr. Trump knew of and directed plans for a Trump Tower in Moscow throughout his 2016 campaign and lied about it. Complicating his testimony, Cohen has pleaded guilty to lying to Congress in the past, which brought a stern warning from the committee chairman.
We will not tolerate lying to this Congress.
And attacks from the right.
You're about to go to prison for lying. How can we believe anything you say?
Republicans fought fiercely to stop Cohen from testifying, calling the disbarred attorney a fraudster and a cheat.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. No one should ever listen to you and give you credibility.
Cohen answered the onslaught with his own accusation.
I did the same thing that you're doing now for 10 years. I protected Mr. Trump for 10 years.
Following a full day of testimony, House Oversight Chairman Elijah Cummings said he believed Cohen told the truth and that President Trump committed a crime while in office.
Based on looking at the text and listening to Mr. Cohen, it appears
that he did.
Cohen reports to prison in May to serve a 3-year sentence. And Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Well, back here at home, there is another big move out of Frankfort yesterday. The school safety bill is one step closer to becoming law. We've been following this bill throughout the legislative session. Matthew Rand looks at where the measure stands now.
Lawmakers had called Senate Bill 1 a top priority this legislative session. The school safety bill sailing through the House of Representatives with a vote of 96-3. House Speaker David Osborne told us last week, in the wake of the shooting last year at Marshall County High School, in which 2 students were killed, lawmakers sought a reasoned and professional approach to drafting a bill that could help prevent such tragedies.
We wanted to talk to professionals from around the country and make sure that we were doing the right thing and not to do something just to be doing something. We wanted to do the right thing that was truly going to protect kids in schools.
Senate Bill 1 requires school districts to put more police officers and counselors in schools and creates new positions of school safety coordinators and a statewide school safety marshal. The bill does not address gun safety or gun control. Governor Matt Bevin praised the work of lawmakers putting the legislation together during the State of the Commonwealth address.
And I want to thank you personally on behalf of these families, on behalf of every student and every teacher and every administrator and every parent in Kentucky for addressing this as you have.
The bill currently lacks funding, a hurdle Osborne says is simply a matter of making it a priority.
It's not a matter of finding extra revenue for it. It's about making it a priority, and that's something we have done, and we've said that from day one, that we will make sure that the money is there to fund it when we decide, when it is implemented.
Our partners at the Herald Leader report the Senate will have to sign off on a few changes made by the House before the bill can head to the governor's desk. Reporting in Frankfort, Matthew Rand, WKYT.
Now, we don't know when the Senate is expected to take up the amended version of the bill. Well, Eastern Kentucky University's aviation technician training program is getting a million-dollar boost, rather. $1.4 million is coming from the Appalachian Regional Commission. It's through their Power Initiative. The money will help open 4 aviation maintenance technician schools. EKU's 18-month program is expected to start next January. It starts students in the classroom before giving them hands-on training to repair planes. Well, a Chattanooga fallen officer's funeral procession went through Kentucky yesterday afternoon. Chattanooga police officer Nicholas Gallinger was killed on Saturday in a DUI hit and run while on duty. His funeral procession started in Chattanooga around 9 Wednesday morning and traveled through his hometown of Cincinnati. Police and first responders paid their respects along I-75 as he returned home.
It's not too often that we have a fallen officer that they're transporting up the interstate. So it's a privilege for us to be out here to pay our respects.
Gallinger's funeral will be on Friday at 11 a.m. in Cincinnati at T.P. White Funeral Home. Well, in other news this morning, a Wise County man will spend the time in prison on child endangerment charges. Commonwealth Attorney Chuck Slem says 51-year-old Carl Wagner was sentenced earlier this week. Back in the fall, Coburn police went to Wagner's house and found a host of unsanitary conditions, including rotten food, unwashed dishes, and an infestation of flies and maggots inside. His 5 children were there and were removed by social services. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison with 6 months of that time suspended. Once released, he will have to complete 15 years of probation and 100 hours of community service. In an update to a story we told you about yesterday, a Mingo County man accused of attacking an elderly woman is behind bars this morning. Sheriff's deputies caught up with 38-year-old Billy Evans Wednesday morning in the Ruth Trace area. We are told tips led investigators to a home where they found him. We are told on February 16th, deputies responded to the Mitchell Branch area on a complaint. When they got there, they found Evans had hit 78-year-old Virginia Coleman, knocking her down and busting her head open. He is charged with malicious or unlawful assault. An emergency room doctor at UK says the opioid epidemic is nowhere near its peak, and he is trying to help patients prepare for what is to come. Dr. Daniel Moore says the drug epidemic and hepatitis C are closely linked. Hep C is an infection in the blood that takes over the liver. It is usually caused by dirty needles. However, it may not show symptoms for many years. Dr. Moore has started testing everyone who comes into the ER for Hep C.
Because of the opioid epidemic, we have known from other literature that a large proportion of our patients are infected with hepatitis C and don't know it. And what we have been doing is testing everyone who walks through the door unless they opt out.
Coming up at 6:30, find out if patients that test positive for Hep C are actually getting treatment. A toddler's flu diagnosis takes a turn for the worse. Now Leslie County is praying for her recovery. Sandy Adams, a family friend, says 3 days have gone by and Kaylin has yet to wake up. She's only 20 months old. Her parents send updates home when they can. While doctors continue to look for answers, Adams set up a station at her store, ES&D Stop and Go, where people are welcome to write her letters.
She's had a rough road. She's a tough baby. She has endured a lot. The family has endured a lot.
That should be S&D Stop and Go, no E involved. The community gathered at the store last night in Wootton for a candlelight vigil. People wishing to send inspiration and donations can stop by to drop them off. The Public Service Commission halted further discussion of 2 potential Eastern Kentucky gas rate increases. One of those is a rate increase proposed by Johnson County Gas Company. We told you about it back in January. The PSC says they are investigating unauthorized debt issued by them and B&H Gas in Floyd County. Johnson County's gas's proposal would have raised the rate by 107%. Coming up, we now know where a beloved member of President George H.W. Bush's family will end up in his next assignment.
Grab the jacket and the rain gear. You'll need the jacket all day and the umbrella at times. I'll have the latest forecast in about 3 minutes.